Senator, by most measures, the Democratic Party has done a pretty bad job selling the health care reform plan and educating the public as to what's in it. We see that in the poll numbers. Does that change as a result of today's ruling? Do you and President Obama and others start running as advocates and supporters of health care reform?
Well, I've always been personally a supporter of health care reform, and in fact, today's Supreme Court ruling is a victory. It's a victory for families across the country who want the security of health care insurance. It's a victory for seniors who will have their prescription drug coverage covered. It's a senior for young people be able to stay on their parents' insurance until age 26. It's a victory for women who can no longer be discriminated against by insurance companies because of their gender or if they're pregnant. It's a victory for all of those who had a health illness that created a pre-existing condition that insurance companies used to bar them from getting insurance. It's a victory for trying to lower costs and creating greater access. So I think it's a great story to tell, and it's a story we need to continue to let the American people know about.
And do you plan on ringing that bell as you campaign across New Jersey this fall?
Well, I've already been ringing the bell before the Supreme Court's decision, explaining to New Jerseyans why this is in their benefit. Why, you know, in fact, if you have health care coverage now, fine, you're going to be able to keep it. If you're on Medicare and Medicaid, fine, you're going to be able to keep it. But if you're 1.5 million New Jerseyans who have no health care coverage whatsoever, you're now going to finally be able to go to sleep at night not worried about yourself and your family in terms of having health care coverage. And I think that is a tremendous security for families in our state and in our country.
I'm sure you heard Mitt Romney's pre-buttal to the president after the ruling came down. He said reform raises taxes, cuts Medicare, adds to the deficit, will cause 20 million people to lose insurance. What's he talking about?
Well, Governor Romney must have amnesia, because everything he's complaining about and all my Republican friends are now trying to scare people with is exactly what he did in the state of Massachusetts when he was governor. He had a mandate, he had individual responsibility, he created a consequence for not meeting that individual responsibility. All of those elements of the federal law are duplicative of what he did in Massachusetts. So he must have amnesia. He didn't claim any of those things then. So the reality is that Congressional Budget Office says we saved $250 million over the first 10 years. Over the next 10 years, we save $1.2 trillion in savings in terms of health care. We insure more people, we control costs, and we end the donut hole for senior citizens. I mean, and we end the discrimination against individuals by insurance companies who decided health care insurance on the bottom line versus what's in the best interest of the patient.
Last question. We heard from the RNC today about repeal and replace, that mantra that we've heard for some time. You work in the Capitol. Have you heard about what the replace part of any GOP repeal and replace effort would be?
No, they're very strong on the repeal. They're very light about the replace. And the reality is they know that the most positive elements of the law can only be achieved if you have personal responsibility. And that's why Governor Romney did it in Massachusetts. And that's the very essence of why this law, at the end of the day, will create greater coverage, lower costs, end discrimination, and was upheld by the Supreme Court.
Senator Robert Menendez, Democrat from New Jersey. Senator, thanks for the time.
Thank you.